Good morning, garden friends. It is overcast today, but that's like for me the best time to be out in the garden. Plus, it rained, and I just so love to come out and visit the garden after a nice rain. Today, we are doing another collaboration on our garden dreams. And my garden dream is tied to my secret garden and some of my vision that I had for what I wanted this to be. Now, with gardening, we know plans change. And one of the things that I'll show you that we are going to have to be reevaluating the direction that we want to go with adding the pergolas that we want to add in here to create more of a secret garden. But I also want to share with you some of the beauty that is happening in the garden with some of the seedlings that I thought was not going to take. A lot of the perennials that are coming to life, some of the changes that I'm going to be making in the garden only because, I'm looking to get some annuals in here to add some additional color as the perennials start to bloom with their flowers. Now, next week, I'm going to be in North Carolina because I'm going to be visiting my garden friend Kim from Backyard Blooms with Kim and go to a couple of garden centers so I can see what kind of plants I can bring back with me. But first, let's recap on some of the things that we had done. We built a new fence. I ended up painting the fence. One of the things that we ended up doing was hand painting it because number one, it was windy. And then number two, we had noticed that the sprayer was not being able to get in the cracks. But look at it now. Okay, guys, it's 5:30. And I ran out of paint. Just had this one last section to do, but we're gonna get another can of paint because I too wanna paint the other side. Now, well, that just looks so nice. I'm not gonna be able to get the hedges cut today, but I'll get those done tomorrow when I go ahead and finish painting the fence. All right, so the cardboard is laid, the bottom trim is done all the way, and this is gonna get filled up with compost. And then, like I said, once my plants and my seedlings are ready to be planted out here, I'm gonna get these guys out here. I'm actually also doing some they're dwarf sunflowers. I don't really care for the tall ones, but these guys will get about 18 inches. So that'll look so nice in this bed. My secret garden transformation is coming along nicely. Now, one of the things that I was inspired by from Pinterest was this photo to add the arbors in here. Well, because my Texas vertex is just doing so well, and like I said, I'm in the process of grooming it to become more of a tree instead of a shrub. So we've been cutting branches at the bottom. But the one thing that I'm noticing, because it's loving its life, the branches are spilling over into the lower garden bed. So what I'm going to end up doing is trimming that back, because the premise with adding the arbors in here was I thought I was going to be able to put two here, but because of how well this is growing, I'm probably only going to have Kevin do one here and then one on the other side and figure out some type of climber that I want to add to it, to where I'm still giving the Texas lilac room to grow, and then also add that secretness to the garden as it grows. But let's just go ahead and take a look at some of the plants that are in the garden. And I'll let you know some of the things that I'm going to be looking at adding to, because most of my plants in here are perennials. I like to have a splash of color, which right now I have my violas and my dusty millers. Now, when I go and visit Kim, there's another version of these dusty millers that have the bigger leaves on it that I want to transplant these guys someplace else in the garden and bring those up here, because I just like the way those leaves end up looking. And then, like I said, adding some annuals down there that'll add to the color, preferably yellow, because as you'll be able to see, I like the yellows, the pinks, the purples in my garden, because I think it just brings so much vibrancy to your garden. So let's just go ahead and take a walk through the garden and see what is actually blooming. Okay, because this garden is like three-tiered beds, let's just start with the back. So that is my lavender on the end, and then these are my milkweeds that I planted from seeds, and I'll post the other video so you guys can see. You know, I was concerned whether or not they were going to be successful. Look at my cosmos. I actually pinched these back based off of feedback from one of my subscribers, and look how full these guys are. This is my blue mist sprea, and looky here. This is the thing too. I try to plant things that will bring the pollinators to my garden. More of my cosmos. Let's go down here. This here is my gumfrena that's doing well. That there is some Veronica that I transplanted. I got some, I believe these are, let me see what these are. Oh, these are giant double zinnias. That's what these are. And then these are my dwarf sunspot sunflowers. Look at these guys. Now they're supposed to get, I believe, 36 inches in height. And I think that is going to look absolutely gorgeous. And these are not the singles. Look at this. I have multiple sunflowers on this. So this is going to be absolutely gorgeous. And I just think the contrast that it's going to have to the blue mist sprea is going to be gorgeous. And then I have the other version of the sunflowers. Now those guys, I only believe they get 18 to 24 inches. And then I have them next to my other batch of cosmos. And then in the far back, I have some of my muley grass, which I think I might be moving that. And then another one of my knockout roses. And then in the next level, I have my verbena that's doing well. Now that back there is lupine. I might end up changing where I have that at. But my verbena is doing so nice. And the one thing that I am loving about this, because it is trailing, to be able to have this whole area just engulfed. And then with my variegated larapi, got my yarrow here. And then just for some wispiness, have garrow in that area. And then another version of garrow back there. But this, oh, and then guys, my hibiscus. I thought that was a goner and I was gonna pull out. I get so impatient, sometimes it's not funny, but it is doing so fantastic and I cannot wait until it blooms. And I think it's Black Midnight or something like that. I'll put the name of it up. But then in the next layer, you know, like I said, I have my Veronicas and then the pansies, which I'm going to take out and get some new annuals in there, and then a new form of the Dusty Miller. And then these are my black-eyed Susies that are growing back here. And then my white wedding hydrangeas that are just looking phenomenal. And behind them are my sweet peas, which I'm going to get those guys tied up to where they can start trailing on the back of my fence. And this is the thing, I think these guys are doing so well because they don't like heat, and because the white weddings are actually protecting the roots to help keep them nice and cool, I believe is a good reason why they're doing so well. And I just cannot wait until they bloom, because I see so many buds on there. I thought it's going to absolutely look gorgeous. More of my Veronicas that are just loving their life. And then back there, guys, that is a dahlia that I did not think would overwinter, but you know, I don't throw plants away, and I just ended up burying it and it came back. My hawthorn is looking good along with my maiden grass. I so love that, you know. And the idea was we actually had to get a new air conditioner, but I wanted to be able to have something that would sort of camouflage it. And then I have my foxgloves, which this is something that I think I'm going to end up adding more to my garden, because they're just so pretty. You know, like I said, it rained, but these flowers are just so gorgeous, you know. And then my candy tufts are starting to die back, but those are, you know, those are early spring flowers, and they just look so gorgeous with that white carpet, and the fact that they also spread, which I'm excited about. This here is my Bobo that is just doing fantastic, along with my calla lilies, and I believe these guys are yellow. And then I also, down at the bottom, the darker leaf ones are the salmon color. Oh, and then look here, my irises are starting to pop up. And you know, that's the thing with gardening. You want to be able to have a variety of things that are blooming at different times, you know, and that's what I try to strive for, is to have that variety in the garden. And then even my yellow flag irises are starting to bloom over here. My Garo is starting to bud up, and then, you know, this is the thing, that is actually a white one along with the one that I have down there. And you know, I think the beauty of, you know, maybe where they are positioned, depending on how much sunlight they get, is it gives me that time lapse to where everything is not blooming at the same time. And oh, looky here, I think these yellow flag irises also got buds on them, so that is going to absolutely look gorgeous. But like I said, I'm gonna be getting some annuals when I go and visit Kim. And the other thing is my Eden climbing rose. For those of you that came to the garden tour or saw my video, you saw this thing was just prolifically blooming, and it's dying back. But guys, I mean, even with it dying back, these roses are so pretty. They are just so gorgeous. But this is also a reblooming climbing rose, so I'm going to go through and get all of the dead stuff, any of the leaves that may look like they're damaged, moved off, because you can see right here I have new shoots coming, and I want all that energy to go towards producing me another flush of flowers. Now, the other thing that I have down here, I actually planted them on both sides, but the other one didn't seem to come up. But back there in the corner, that is my purple clematis. It was coming up and I think it got clipped by accident. But like I said, I have one on both sides, but this is the only one that has come up so far. But like I said, everything is looking very nicely, and I'm just really pleased with how everything is looking. And then this is the addition of us extending the garden bed out into the yard with my Proven Winners bubble gum, some more of my muley grass, with my verbenas, with my sunshine ligustrums, and I also have my bachelor buttons that go down the entire side. So this is the stage that this garden is at, which as things end up blooming and then me adding more color to the garden with annuals, this will be really nice. And then too, the fact that we are changing the game plan for the arbor because of how the Texas vertex is growing. But those are some things that I'm going to end up getting done today, trimming the vertex back and cleaning up the climbing rows. All right, so let me share with you the ladies that I am collaborating with and provide you a snippet of their garden dreams.
That's Kim here. Welcome to Backyard Blooms. In today's video, we are going to do an update on my cottage garden. Back a couple of months ago, we did a collaboration with my gardening friends, and it was in the springtime. And now it is mid-May, and we're going to do another collaborating video and giving you a great update on my cottage garden. So I'm really excited to share my, I guess, early summer garden with you guys, and some of the things that I talked about that I planted in the garden before. Some of them are doing well, but it seems like it takes a couple of years for them to actually thrive and come back and do good the second year. So some of the plants that I planted actually last year, like my white gara, is being gorgeous this year, and it looks very beautiful against these purple blooms on my Walker's Low, and then I have the white gara above that. And if you've not watched my video on the white gara, I talked about that they are dancing butterflies in your garden, and they truly do look like dancing butterflies in the garden. I have the Walker's Low catnip, and then I have my white gara, and then I have these gorgeous melon coneflowers above that. It's just so pretty. And so I have multiple layers in my garden here in the cottage garden, and that's what I really wanted to achieve. So I want to encourage you to get out into your garden and let nature come to you. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.
Hey y'all, and good morning. Welcome back to my garden. Today I am going to be working with some of my flower friends on another collaboration video. Okay guys, so here is our cottage garden. This was just a blank slate a couple of months ago, and we have come in and added some of the structure that I feel like will be a good start to a cottage garden. Between each tall guy, we have transplanted our incredibles that were up front. So as you can see, we have this pattern with the tall guy and the incredible and the tall guy going along all through the cottage garden. So we've done really good with adding lots of ground cover. We've did lamium, and we've did heucheras and hostas, and we already had some of the things you see here on the front. We already had this hydrangea here, and this phlox here, and this autumn joy sedum here. So those were already in place when we got started. So we've working really hard on getting the ground cover in, because I feel like the more ground cover you have, then the less weeds that you're going to have to pull.
Hi, and welcome to my garden for the May update to our Garden Dreams collaboration. A lot has happened in 2 months, including updates from Emily, Kim, Deborah, and Betty at the end of the video so that you can see how their garden dreams are progressing. Pixie arrived 2 years ago, and she created a woodland path on our morning walks. Last fall, that path became the Woodland Walk for a new garden. This spring, a tree came down, hollow to the core, and served a new purpose. As a planter, as wood chips for the path, and a dramatic edge for that path. Fortunately, the May apples survived the tree fall, and they grew up around it. They even bloomed. The native plantings that we put in last fall are beginning to fill out, and some of them have even begun to bloom. My friend Bill gave me clumps of white violets and also giant Solomon seal. The serviceberry blooms very early, and these are several young trees on either side of the path, underplanted with bloodroot and tiarella. I transplanted several clumps of wild violets at the end of the bed, and they're blooming profusely, along with woodland phlox. One of my favorite trees is our native black cherry, and we have 5 of them blooming along the fence. With all the green planting, I wanted to add a focal point, but maybe something larger. I still have so much to plant, and I can't wait to see what summer brings.
Hi, long time no see. My name is Emily, and I'm coming to you from the scent of a garden in Southern California, Zone 10B, Sunset Zone 22, also known as my backyard. My garden focuses on flowers, foliage, and fragrance. And for me, my dream garden bed, known as the Zen garden bed, is inspired by a trip I took to Bali. And this is the mood board that shows the direction that I'd like for this garden bed to go in. So let me turn the camera around and share some updates. Now, I know this is still in the container because it's a placeholder, and you see the 3 broken concrete pieces I had to remove. The biggest change right now is adding the 2 Abyssinian bananas, or ensete. You see here are the different textures in leaves that I'm considering. So you have this here, which at least at Home Depot they call it the China doll, and abbeys, I affectionately call them the abbeys, in pots because of the ficus roots. Those are serious. You see them all the way back there, and I don't know if I'm going to hit a root. I also want to make sure that these are happy. Yes, they look very happy. We'll eventually get them in the ground. What's nice about having them in a pot is being able to add color. So the color that's added in this pot is coleus and sun patience and a proven winner jazzberry supertunia and a begonia. This heuchera here, I don't know, that's a trial. And then more alocasia, and then you have the acanthus and a darker alocasia. I may switch the position because it's already dark back there, and this is a brighter color that would pop from back there to here. And then there's one more plant right here. I don't know what that's called, but it loves the shade. And this acanthus, look at the leaves on it. It's gorgeous. And the color is beautiful. It's also a little spiky, so you got to be careful. Come back around, you see the Camilla is in a tray, so I can continue to bottom water.
and Kimberly fern. And then in the back is this everyday palm. It's usually used as a house plant, but I like the leaf variation that it provides. Here is a variegated plant that I also like against this plant, whose name I can't remember right now. I'll put it up on screen. And so as you see the hints of red from the cordyline and how they continue, how that color continues over here in the Bali-inspired Zen, I like it. I like that addition. So while it does take me a while to make a decision, this one I'm almost done. So I keep telling myself this is a judgment-free zone. Every step towards the goal counts. So I hope you enjoyed this update, and I hope you enjoy your flowers and the fragrance in the air. See you in the next video.
Okay, so I went ahead and trimmed back the side of the Texas vertex so that it's not spilling over into the lower bed here. And then I trimmed and cleaned up my rose bush. And guys, like I said, you can see, let me get that off of there. You can see new growth on here. And this is a rebloomer. So I'm excited about this rose bush being covered once again with these beautiful white and pink flowers. My garden dream for my secret garden is coming along so nicely. I'm loving the Texas Vertex lilac being center stage, and the thought process of being able to add the arbors to my garden, I believe will create elegance, add to the seclusion, add to the intimacy that I want my secret garden to exhibit. All right, garden friends. Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing my next stage of my garden dream for my secret garden. Like I said, with gardening, it's ever changing, you know, and sometimes you have to adjust because nature has its way of making you reevaluate the direction that you want to go. Well, thank you again for visiting Inspiring Garden Corner, and I look forward to you checking out my next video.